I want to talk about style, not fashion style. I've got none of that. Writing style. I've said before that the most important aspect of a good book is the story, and made the point that the difference between plot and story is plot is what happens, and story is how it happens. Style is part of story. How do you tell your story? To make an analogy out of it, think about movies. If I were to say, look at a Wes Anderson film, a Wes Anderson film is instantly recognizable by its framing, by its colors. He has a very unique style. If you think about paintings, if you think a guy like Claude Monet, he has a style. Same for literature, books, novels. How you style your narrative will have an impact on how your books are received. And so, to give an example, two bad examples first. This guy over here, And the As Saw the Angel by Nick Cave. Now, I'll admit freely that Nick Cave is one of my favorite humans. I really enjoy Nick Cave as a musician. I enjoy him as a human being. Nick Cave has a huge influence on how I choose to live my life. And this book of his, The As Saw the Angel, it's a good read, but it's a very difficult read because Cave's style in this book is a bit convoluted. In as much that the style it was written in gets in the way of the story. The other guy who's famous for that is Chuck Palahniuk of Fight Club fame. Chuck Palahniuk's books are fantastic. I really enjoy the guy. I really enjoy his stories. He's so deliciously twisted and unhinged that Chuck Palahniuk is just, whenever there's a new one of his out, I grab it and read it. But when I read one of his books, I know I've read it. It's a slog. You need to fight through the style in order to get to the story. Now, in Palahniuk's case, his stories are strong enough that the slog through the style is worth it. But we're not Chuck Palahniuk. The point being is that your style will make your book fun and interesting to read, or it'll make it very difficult to slog through, or it'll make it so damn boring that nobody cares, because the opposite of difficult style, like in Palahniuk, is see Jane run, and just style that is so boring that it feels like a grade school reader to teach kids how to read, because it's so simple. And the point being is that once you have a good style, it can carry a lot of your sins. Good examples of style. Jeffrey Eugenides, who wrote The Virgin Suicides and the absolutely brilliant Middlesex. Middlesex is a book on transgenderism without an ounce of wokery in it. It is an absolute brilliant read. It is cracking. Eugenides' style is fun. I enjoy his books for the way that he writes. And I can make a case of Stephen King is who he is largely as a result of his style. Yeah, Stephen King can spin a very good yarn, but his books are fun to read. His style is easygoing. Put your feet on the couch, two buddies having a conversation. And the problem with many of today's serious literature books is that style takes over everything. They are incredibly dense books to try and get through, and they win all the awards because they're so intellectual. But they're not necessarily fun to read. They don't necessarily engage the audience. And coming back to Steve King, if you see how many millions upon millions of books that he's sold, people enjoy reading him. You don't need to work reading a Stephen King, but also you don't feel like you're being talked down to. So my conclusion here is that when you go for a style, don't let the style get in the way of the story. But then also don't make it so bland that there isn't any style at all. So basically, it's like that old adage, it's not what you do, but the way that you do it.